Are you now wearing a mask when you go out?
Sometimes, only when I go to places where there are going to be a lot of other people, like grocery stores and that sort of thing. When I'm simply taking a walk through my suburban neighborhood, I don't wear a mask, but I think it could be a good idea for people to start thinking about that. I think we have to think of our medical professionals first, though, and just avoid a situation where there's a shortage. So once we see these production numbers coming up, there are so many companies, Mike Lindell from MyPillow.com and all these other companies, Brooks Brothers, that are stepping up to produce more. Once we see more of those supplies coming on the market, I think it'll be safer for people to go out and actually buy the masks. But for now, I'm just taking precautions as I can, washing my hands, wearing sunglasses, by the way, or if you have glasses as well, they can protect you because apparently the virus can bind to receptors in your eyes as well as other membranes. So just doing things like that and being careful and staying at home as much as possible.
One more question on the mask. Is the mask, at least the ones available to the public, is that to protect others or to protect yourself?
It's more to protect others because of the asymptomatic transfer of the virus. That's really the reason this virus is such a problem, is that you can have it without having any symptoms, and then you can unwittingly pass it along to others. And so the mask prevents that from happening. I don't know if it is very effective in keeping you from getting it from other people. Apparently, it's dependent on which kind of mask you have. But it can't hurt as a courtesy to others to go out with a mask, and it may offer at least some minimal protection for yourself. But I think the main issue is to protect others in case you might happen to be asymptomatic and you're walking around out there.
So one listening to you now would be surprised perhaps to know that you are among those who, tell me if you think it's a fair verb, questioning the indefinite isolation policies. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think when this started, I thought we should be cautious and we should take this seriously but not panic. I think the word I used was not freak out, that people should approach this in a rational way, that we could manage this crisis, hopefully limit the economic damage. And unfortunately, that was not to be. And when we look back at this time, and I think we will do so often over the next decades and centuries, we're going to have these debates about the policy response to this virus. What the scientists and the doctors have been telling us is that everybody underestimated how contagious this was going to be and so forth. But what the economists will debate for a long time is whether the economic measures that we've been putting in place that have cost 10 million jobs in the last 2 weeks alone, whether those were necessary. And at the outset, I believed we could get through this differently. What I think we learned is that it doesn't take the majority of people to panic. You just need a significant minority to panic, and that can send the rest of society into a tailspin. Now, I commend the president for maintaining his composure, for adjusting as circumstances have required, for trying different approaches, but always maintaining calm. I think that's the most important thing he's done for the country, is just showing up at the press briefing.
Right. I agree. Well, we're going to continue. Joel Pollak, senior editor at large